Tanks were the iron fist of the Blitzkrieg. From the lightning-fast advances in Poland to the desperate defense of Berlin, German armor redefined modern warfare. Today, we document every single German tank, assault gun, and tank destroyer ever made, from the legendary Big Cats to the secret experimental monsters. Every machine explained. 1. The legendary cats, the Panzer legends. Panzer I, Tiger I, the most feared tank of the war. With its 88mm gun and 100mm of frontal armor, it could destroy Allied tanks from over 2 kilometers away. It created a psychological phenomenon known as Tiger phobia among Allied crews. Panzer VI, Tiger II, King Tiger, Henschel turret, a 70-ton monster. Its long 88mm gun was the most powerful anti-tank weapon of the era. No Allied tank could reliably penetrate its front armor during the entire war. Tiger II, Porsche turret. The first 50 King Tigers featured this curved turret design. While visually striking, the curved front created a shot trap that could deflect enemy shells into the thin roof armor, leading to the Henschel redesign. Panzer V Panther, Ausführort D, built to counter the Soviet T-34. It featured revolutionary sloped armor and a high-velocity 75mm gun. Its debut at Kursk was plagued by engine fires, but it eventually became the best all-around tank of the war. Panzer V Panther, Ausführort A. The improved version solved many mechanical issues. It featured a new commander's cupola and a more reliable transmission, making it a deadly adversary on the Western Front. Panzer V Panther, Ausführort G, the final and most produced version of the Panther. It had a redesigned hull side and a thickened chin on the gun mantlet to prevent shells from bouncing into the hull. Panzer VIII Maus, the heaviest tank ever built, weighing 188 tons. It was essentially a mobile bunker with a 128mm main gun. Only 2 prototypes were made, and it was so heavy it couldn't cross most bridges, requiring a specialized snorkeling system to cross rivers. 2. The backbone. Panzer III and IV variants. The workhorses, Panzer IV AWSF A, the original support tank. It was armed with a short-barreled 75mm gun designed to blast infantry and fortifications. It set the stage for the most produced German tank of the war. Panzer IV AWSF F1, the last of the short guns. By 1941, it was clear that the short barrel couldn't penetrate new Soviet armor like the KV-1, leading to a massive upgrade. Panzer IV AWSF F2, the game changer. This was the first Panzer IV fitted with the long 75mm KWK-40 gun. It could finally engage Soviet T-34s at long range, restoring the technical edge to the Panzerwaffe. Panzer IV AWSF-G featured improved armor and double baffle muzzle brakes. This model saw heavy action in North Africa with Rommel's Afrika Korps and on the Eastern Front. Panzer IV AWSF-H, the definitive Panzer IV. It was covered in shirts and side skirts to protect against Soviet anti-tank rifles and featured an even more powerful version of the long 75mm gun, Panzer IV X-J, a late-war simplified version. To save resources, the electric turret traverse was removed, forcing the crew to rotate the heavy turret by hand. Panzer III AWSF-E, the first major production model of the Panzer III, designed as the primary anti-tank fighter. It featured the iconic torsion bar suspension that gave it excellent cross-country speed. Panzer III AWSF-J, upgraded with a long 50mm gun to fight more modern tanks. It was the backbone of the Panzertruppe during the invasion of the Soviet Union. Panzer III AWSF-L featured spaced armor on the turret and hull front, designed to prematurely detonate incoming anti-tank shells. Panzer III Ausführort, the final version. Since it could no longer fight modern tanks, it was fitted with the short 75mm gun from the early Panzer IVs and used for close infantry support. 3. The Blitzkrieg engines. Panzer I and II. The early years. Panzer I AWSF A, originally intended only as a training vehicle. It was tiny, armed only with 2 machine guns, yet it led the charge during the invasions of Poland and France. Panzer I AWSF B featured a more powerful engine and a longer hull. Despite its thin armor, it proved that mobile armored warfare was the future. Panzer II AWSF C, the primary tank of the early war. Armed with a 20mm autocannon, it was surprisingly effective against light vehicles and infantry during the fall of France. Panzer II Ausf Luchs, a dedicated high-speed reconnaissance tank. It was one of the only Panzer II variants designed from the ground up for the mid-war battlefield, featuring a modern interleaved wheel system. Panzer 35T, a captured Czech design. The Germans loved its reliability and used it extensively in the early years, until its pneumatic steering system proved problematic in the freezing Russian winter. Panzer 38T, perhaps the best light tank of the early war. Also, a Czech design. Its chassis was so reliable that the Germans used it as the base for dozens of other vehicles throughout the entire war. 4. The Silent Killers, Stugs and Jagdpanzers, tank destroyers and assault guns. Stug 3 AOSFG, the unsung hero of Germany. Because it had no turret, it was cheap to build and easy to hide. It recorded more tank kills than any other German vehicle in the war. Stug 4, built on the Panzer IV chassis when Stug 3 factories were bombed. It combined the low profile of the Stug with the ruggedness of the Panzer IV. Jagdpanzer 38T Hetzer, small, cramped, but deadly. Its extremely sloped armor made it very difficult to hit and penetrate. It was the perfect ambush weapon for the late-war defensive battles. Panther, often called the finest tank destroyer of the war. It put the Panther's mobility and the Tiger II's 88mm gun into a sleek, low-profile hull. It could destroy any Allied tank from a hidden position. Tiger, the heaviest armored vehicle to see combat. It was armed with a massive 128mm gun that could destroy a house with one shot. However, it was slow, mechanically unreliable, and many were abandoned because they ran out of fuel. Elephant Ferdinand, built on the rejected Porsche Tiger chassis. It had massive armor but lacked a machine gun for self-defense in its early version, making it vulnerable to brave infantrymen with sticky bombs. 5. The specialized and experimental prototypes and Wunderwaffen Neubaufahrzeug, a pre-war multi-turreted tank. Only 5 were built. While it looked intimidating, it was poorly armored and used primarily for propaganda to scare the world before the war began. E-100, the successor to the Maus. It was part of the Entwicklung series designed to standardize German tanks. Only one hull was ever completed before the British captured the factory. Panzer VII Low, Lion, a secret super-heavy project that never left the drawing board. It was intended to be a 70 to 90-ton monster that would have eventually been replaced by the Maus. Landkreuzer P-1000 Ratte, the ultimate paper panzer. A theoretical 1,000-ton land battleship armed with naval cannons. It was so large that its weight would have crushed roads and destroyed any bridge it touched. From the tiny Panzer I to the 188-ton Maus, the evolution of German armor was a desperate race for technical superiority. These machines were masters of the battlefield, but in the end, they couldn't withstand the industrial might of the world. Subscribe to Military Recon Intel for more deep dives into the hardware of history. Every machine explained.